That's right, Riv. We're back. We're getting into it. It is game 4, INTZ versus Vega Squadron. I'm excited.
You did say, oh boy.
Oh boy, it said in the prompter. I missed it.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Good job.
Oh boy, this is what happened the last time they played. It was definitively Vega favored. You might remember that as a card at the spot lane. I can't imagine you see too many of those at home, dear friends, dear viewers.
Yeah, probably not. It was honestly pretty one-sided from Vega last time around. They did control a lot of the flow of the game. You can see taking all the towers, all the dragons. They certainly felt like they were in the driver's seat for most of it. And as Saros was just talking about, one of the most difficult things about Vega is that they can play these AP carries, as he put it. You know, Karthus bot, they played Heimerdinger bot. They can also just go to more standard stuff. You know, we did see them play Varus. We have seen them throughout their regular season play a number of different more standard marksmen, but they're just so hard to actually draft against because they could go full standard, they could go full random.
And we saw full standard earlier today, right? It looked so good for them too when they had the Braum and the Varus, like just fantastic engages coming in from the bot lane overall. And INTZ, it feels like what they did, leverage comfort picks earlier in the day. They were willing to pick this Tahm Kench Ashe, which has been successful in the past, which has mitigated some of the weaknesses of their bot lane, but were ultimately unsuccessful in putting it to good use. And now they're in this, kind of heartbreaking position where they want to upset the group. They want to prove that they can win some games, but ultimately aren't playing for themselves, but instead to kind of shake things up and to prove to the CBLOL fans out there that they can compete internationally.
Yeah, and I think that's what you're playing for as far as, for yourself. It's just to prove you can compete, to get some experience, to actually show what you have on the international stage. And sometimes it's interesting, these teams can have a rough start, be limited from a group, and they start playing a lot better because nerves are no longer a factor, because they feel like they're more relaxed and can actually play like themselves. So we'll see if anything like that comes out here from INTZ, but they are against the group favorites. Vega certainly have looked very good throughout this group, but this is the beginning of the second round robin. And as we saw for Group A, certainly there is the ability to take down some of these top teams.
And for the Shark, he has the flexibility to wave.
Oh,
hello.
He's pointing at you, Dracos.
Oh!
He loves you.
Aww. No. He wasn't supposed to share that on broadcast, my dear Shark.
You're not going to say it back?
I love you, Shark.
Thank you.
They took us away. They knew I wouldn't be able to focus if they kept the Shark on screen. Isaac.
Your paramour right there.
It's just...
It's a beautiful thing.
We'll let it go. We'll get into the draft. Isaac, no Shark champions outside of Rek'Sai. Won't have to look at those. LeBlanc, Jarvan taken away. Morgana, Taric. INTZ, they don't want to see the Taric Sona bot lane.
Yep, and we're not going to see very much of this throughout the tournament, it seems like. People are so quick to actually ban that out. Boss has played 3 games of Hecarim so far. Not going to be able to play it in this one, as they're going to make him show us something different here against Tay. But he is red side, so we will have the ability to go for that counter pick if they want to. And it's interesting to see Karthus actually banned away here by Vega, who do seem like much more of that Karthus style team.
Yeah, and for Shini, it's just really not his MO whatsoever, so...
Yeah, he did play it twice, in the CBLOL, but certainly, not one of his most played. He has focused much more heavily, on Gragas, on Rek'Sai. The Rek'Sai will be grabbed.
There you go. Got ourselves a Sand Shark now in this game. See what Vega want to respond with for themselves. Maybe they match with a little bit of a stronger jungler. Of course, Jarvan taken off the board, very normally the response, but the Kindred still up and available. Of course, AHaHaCiK went for the Kha'Zix earlier today. Irelia still up, Ryze still up as well. So if Vega want to open with double flex picks, they also have the freedom to do so.
Yeah, certainly have the ability to do that if they want to go that direction, but not forced to draft double solos this early on the red side. If they don't feel like they need the ability to do that, could go for something like Gragas if they want to hide a pick, draft even a support here. Galio is still available, Tahm Kench is still available if you would kind of like your selection of those. Those really have been the go-to supports, especially throughout play-ins, and they will be getting the Galio. I think makes a lot of sense alongside Irelia. Irelia certainly can be flexed, but regardless of where she goes, she's going to be diving in and appreciating that assistance from Galio.
Absolutely. Now INTZ got to figure out what exactly they want to do. They've got the comfort pick for Shini. Maybe they grab something for Envy here. Or maybe they just wait a little bit longer. Of course, our blue side can just lock in the Jayce if they want to. A lot of pressure, though, onto Envy or Tay to find advantages on that champion. We've seen fantastic Jayces on international stage, and we have seen pretty crushing performances as well. The Braum now locked into followed up, so a lot of very comfortable picks for this INTZ lineup.
Yeah, Envy has a couple of Jayce plays throughout his season. it was not played at all by Tay, in their regular season or playoffs. So we will see if they want to kind of change it up and flex it back up there. But as you said, Shini and Envy were certainly standouts for INTZ throughout their run in playoffs. And, getting Envy on this champion that is a very dominant early game champion could be a way in for INTZ.
Or to see maybe if it's something special that Tay has been working on. We will find out where it's going to go as we move further into the phase of Sejuani going to be the final lock-in. So a lot of tanky champions, a good bit of synergy with the Irelia as well.
Yeah, that is really a key thing. The 2v2 with Irelia and Sejuani is so incredibly powerful, even at those early levels. People often look at Sejuani and say, yeah, it's late game, it's team fights, but you can show up level 3 to an Irelia lane. You stack that passive so ridiculously fast with the help with the Irelia. Your stun sets up for an Irelia stun very easily. You have a lot of lockdown, a lot of 2v1 and 2v2 potential there. So INTZ are going to have to be really careful about where their jungler is, where Shini is when he potentially runs into this combo.
And very often Nomanz plays on an island, but maybe this is the game where we see AHaHaCiK put more attention into that mid lane. The Varus, though, taken off the board. Don't want to give Mills a dominant early game champion to pair with the Braum. Interesting that the Lucian has not been banned yet. Maybe it's the next ban for Vega. Very often that is the duo that's feared, but Vega feeling pretty comfortable there as the Syndra will be INTZ's ban, and now the Lucian follows as well.
Yeah, Lucian is banned out. You always do have the first pick in the second round as well on red side, so you can also have the option of taking something like that away. Also, good to remember that this could be, Irelia top. Certainly, Boss has a number of plays on that. We haven't actually seen Nomanz play the Irelia, in their league, so we'll find out. It is definitely normally a flex pick. Neeko, you want to say, would be a solo laner, but Neeko was actually, tied for most played for Gadget down in that bot lane, so he is going to be likely playing that AP carry down in that bottom side. But this is, again, these are picks that can go anywhere, right? Like, this could be Neeko mid, top, bot, could be Irelia mid or top. It's so hard now. INTZ have to show the rest of their draft without really having a clear understanding of what Vega's plan is.
Incredible difficult position, and I think this is a pick that they've had a ton of success, have not opted to bring it out thus far because they've kind of gotten the Heimer, they've gotten the Karthus, they've gotten a lot of those priority bot picks that they do enjoy playing themselves. Akali will now be locked in. Once again, flex picks the name of the game kind of for both sides at this stage. We'll see what the final pick will be. May commit a little bit more for us here as we wait for an 80 carry to be locked in. Short of something truly wild, you have to imagine it'll be a bit more standard, and I imagine Kai'Sa will most likely be that pick.
Yeah, Kai'Sa makes, I think, quite a bit of sense. Certainly can follow up on some of the dive that could come through with this team. Being able to ult in when they do apply Plasma with things like, the Akali stun and a burrow from the Rek'Sai as well. Also worth mentioning that when Gadget does play Neeko, it is on hit. It is not actually a pure AP Neeko style. Ryze still stayed available throughout the entire draft, so they could actually go for Ryze, and now setting themselves up for an incredibly strong 1-3-1. You want to see that Ryze and Irelia out in the side lanes, being able to create pressure on the map. You have Galio to help to answer those side lanes, as well as a strong 3-man squad with that Galio, Neeko, and Sejuani. You have very good early game ganks. 2v2 with the Irelia and the Sejuani, as well as kind of pairing up with that Ryze if that is the case. And on the side of INTZ, you feel like a lot of it is about this early game. It's about being lane dominant on the Jayce, about snowballing an advantage on that Akali, because if you're unable to do so, it does get very difficult going forward in the later stages of the game.
Yeah, for both the Irelia and the Akali, it feels like two champions who desperately will want to snowball, and it looked like the final position there in the draft was Akali on the top side, will not opt for the flash, instead going for the ignite, going for a much more aggressive build overall. But when I look at this comp, and anytime we see a Neeko kind of pop up in these games, Azale, I always think back to their finals where you just saw so much attention put down to the bottom side because of the setup that Neeko has for ganks with an incredibly strong root.
Yep, root, you have taunt, as well to follow that up, or if you do see a taunt flash coming through from the Galio, flash taunt rather, you can actually root very easily out of that. That is all setting up for the CC from the Sejuani. And I kind of respect the Ignite TP here from the Kai'Sa. It does make it more risky, but I also just feel like this game is going to be decided for Tay in a side lane. Team fighting seems almost impossible for the Akali against this sort of squad. There's so much CC that you feel like you're always going to get locked down and taken out, right? All it takes is one taunt. Then there's the Rune Prison. Then there's a Sejuani ult, Sejuani knockup, the root from the Neeko, the stun from the Irelia. There's just so much CC.
Yeah, absolutely is the case. But of course, before we get into this game, we do have a sideline report. Riv spoke earlier today to Nomanz. Let's hear what he had to say.
Thanks, guys. I had a chance to catch up with Nomanz after the 3rd consecutive win in Group B, and I had to ask him, how confident are you in going undefeated in the group? He says, very confident, but we still have to take it one game at a time to get out. Back to you guys.
30 seconds until ring
And good to hear. Thank you, Riv. Level-headed from Nomanz, not feeling overconfident. Important to remember, despite the fact that, you know, INTZ and Mega are both out of contention, Vega has to win every game and beat Dead FM to really keep up at this stage. If Dead FM are able to take the tiebreaker and Vega have dropped a game here, things change very quickly. You're forcing a tiebreaker at the end of the day. The story can change very quickly.
Yeah, definitely. You know, Vega don't want to get overconfident. Really do want to continue to kind of take things one game at a time, playing very, very normal.
has spawned.
And, you know, they've secured themselves a great advantage, but a lot of games of League to play still here for them.
And of course, tight schedule as well. Winning out today through tiebreaker or just straight winning the group. Still have to play that best of 5. Of course, we'll get the luxury of watching the first best of 5, a little bit more time to prep, but definitely a dense schedule for these Group B teams, and very important to keep a level head as we move further into the tournament.
And really for everyone in play-ins, you know, it is, you know, a grind. There's very long days. You have to stay very, very focused. You know, try to avoid getting too tired, try to avoid getting too stressed out about the results of any individual game, because there are almost always so many more to come throughout this day and throughout the play-in in general. But we'll see if they're able to actually, you know, go on that undefeated run. Certainly would be very impressive for the CIS. This was expected to be the weaker of the two groups, but still, a 6-0 run would be monumental.
Yeah, it would be huge for both the LCL and for Vega Squadron, as well as the Shark in the audience. Of course,
Especially for the Shark in the
especially
audience.
for the Shark in the audience. Now, of course, we did see Mills and RedBert not opting to leash, instead opting for that level 1 priority, hard shoving the wave in and getting a division down, so they will have tracked AHaHaCiK. But it does free Shini up to take this grab completely and totally uncontested. Decent amount of knowledge here. And for now, RedBert and Mills doing a good job. And one thing we got to keep our eyes on, Gadget very good at using the shape splitter to block major skill shots in this lane.
Yeah, and that's such a big thing, you know, having that champion mastery. We saw him actually doing a similar kind of thing when he was playing Heimerdinger, where he was actually blocking Lee Sin Qs with his turrets, you know, placing them like that. You can kind of use it in a similar way. You can see that AHaHaCiK is actually giving up double scuttle here over the Rek'Sai, realizing that the lanes are going to be pushed in, realizing that the 1v1 duel may not go in his favor, but AHaHaCiK has gotten up here behind Tay.
Tay only level 2.
Remember, he has no flash as well.
Is he taking the Shuriken flip? Is he taking the Shroud? I'm guessing the flip as well. Nope, the Shroud does manage to come out. The second he reveals himself, they will be able to proc the stun instantly, but it does fall off just in time, but he's still going to go down. Boss going to grab first blood. Absolutely massive. A slow play in the end, but well done.
Yeah, really well done. I mean, and so smart to actually attack that person who skipped the flash. It is kind of more of that greedy play, looking for the solo kill. And getting up there while he's still level 2 was so critical, because without the Shuriken toss, you don't really have any form of escape. Great, you drop the Shroud. Who cares? They can wait it out. You can't actually flash to avoid anything. So AHaHaCiK commits his own flash, but it is first blood onto the Irelia in this critical 1v1 matchup. So flashes straight in, gets the red buff applied. The passive is up. Tay has a pretty well-timed Shroud, but there's no way out. All he can do is just straight walk away.
Even after it falls out, it's just so easy for Irelia to just dash in, land any ability she needs to, and now I like the aggressive approach here from Boss, coming back triple longswords. He just wants to smash in these trades. He's okay maybe delaying an early Trinity Force, instead going for something like a Tiamat.
Yeah, exactly. I think Tiamat is going to be the option anytime you see the longsword starting to get stacked up. It can be very, very strong. Tiamat, you know, in the straight up like 100-0 fight, maybe weaker than something like the straight up Triforce Rush, but what it really does is it gives you a lot of wave clear to actually control that lane, and it also critically is setting up those range minions very easily with the Tiamat active, and also with the Tiamat splash off of your Qs for additional blade surges. So you can have those resets, be dashing around throughout the wave, and that allows you to have more ability to outplay, to dodge skill shots, and to avoid ganks.
And of course, it's going to be very mechanically demanding lane between the Akali and the Irelia, landing a stun. Feels like a death sentence at this point with this kind of lead, but Akali has all the tools to avoid it. For now, the advantage airing in the side of the Irelia. Corrupting Pot, triple longsword, very comfortable spot to be in. In the bot lane, we're finally seeing a bit of pressure shift over to the side of Vega Squadron. Gadget doing what he can with the shape splitter to scout out, but Envy and Shini very clearly still comfortably in control of that mid lane area. Early levels for Jayce, very powerful. Ryze now with the tier can start to fight back a little bit, but Jayce with the hammer swap. Ryze also is a no ultimate champion, feels like a pretty nice matchup for the Jayce, because normally level 6 feels like maybe a bit of a turning point, but doesn't do anything.
Yeah, not going to do too much, but honestly for Nomanz, there's no reason that you should try to go aggressive. You just farm this out. If you're holding the Jayce even in lane, that's fantastic, honestly. Ryze is going to outscale. Ryze is going to be able to match in side lanes. You have TP versus Cleanse because there's so much CC on your team. The Cleanse tax has been paid, which means you can play side lanes a lot better than the Ryze, or rather than the Jayce later in the game. So for Nomanz, there's no pressure whatsoever to do anything other than CS.
But Shini, though, feeling a bit of pressure to try to get something done here. Of course, decent amount of CC, not really for setup for the Jayce, but really strong execution ability, or if he wants to commit the flash as well, a potential knockback in the Thundering Blow.
It's pretty hard, honestly, to take down an Aftershock Ryze, though, and you can see Boss trying to assert his dominance here in the lane. Conqueror is procced.
Yeah, Tay has to be careful here, but good trade back and forth. Tay holding his own despite the deficit that he's been put in. CS deficit now starting to mount as well, as Irelia very comfortably can push out. Most likely will complete the Tiamat, but now in the mid lane, the snare going to stop Shini from going for anything else. You have to assume he may have wanted to flash there, but Nomanz going to deny, and we're going to extend the play anyway. Throwing down a few more autos. Is just looking to keep it going, but the shield coming in. Massive there in the exchange.
Yeah, but if you look up at the top side, that huge CS advantage is because Shroud was down and Boss hit level 6. So there was the potential for a dive. Tay had to completely back off the turret and just give up all of that experience and that gold. So falling even further behind as a result when you're down XP. Very, very dangerous. And you can see Santos kind of setting up here. Gadget using that clone, helping to kind of scout out. And they do have a very early Ocean Dragon as well, so that was grabbed in the midst of all this.
Sejuani stepping forward. RedBert just going to dash back to the minion. And honestly, kind of fishing for that play, as we mentioned before. A lot of setup CC on the bottom side, but you have to land it. And Mills and RedBert giving the respect deserved over to the opposite side.
It's just going to feel so good to have that Ocean. You know, for Nomanz, for Boss, these guys not really going to have to worry about the sustain very much anymore. You're going to be able to have more ability to kind of survive through these lanes, and it can be such a game changer when you are going up against more kind of early game-centric teams that are supposed to win lane. You essentially just have, you know, a free massive advantage, and Shini down here is level 6, trying to look for something, but has not been able to find much of anything whatsoever.
Yeah, and it's just, honestly, you bring up the Ocean Drake and it seems brutal, and now Vega can very comfortably kind of sit and scale, because we've been in this position before where one team feels like they're going to do better in the late game. Yes, the Kai'Sa is a terrifying late game scaling threat, but the Ryze is too on the opposite side, and we've seen when push comes to shove, Nomanz on this Ryze can take over a game. Yeah,
he certainly can, and I think the biggest problem is even less about, you know, say Kai'Sa versus the Neeko or anything like that. It's just that Vega has such a good 1-3-1 style composition. There's not even the 2 teleports to match it, right? You know, how do you actually play out that game if all Irelia and Ryze are going to do is just sit in the side lane and have TP advantage? That's very, very difficult to really play up against for the side of INTZ. So they need to be able to force plays. They need to be able to actually, you know, engage fights and make things happen. And to do that, you have to be winning.
Definitely do. For now, just a small deficit, however. The Ocean going to be the biggest pain that they have to deal with. 300 gold. Although Jayce will now get the blue buff matched by Nomanz having it on the opposite side. Maybe able to find some greater advantage. But once again, it's a position where Shini has the more early game focused jungler. Needs to find an early game similar to how he did with the Gragas. Ignite, though, goes down onto Mills on the bottom side. Feels like they're fishing for a bit of damage.
Yeah, Mills chunked very, very low there. Does have, you know, Biscuit and the health potion running, but it is Boss and AHaHaCiK looking to actually kind of group back up here on the top side of the map. Sejuani ultimate is up, so you know, they could go for this, but Shroud is available. You know, they're certainly going to have a Shuriken toss at this point in the game as well, so it's much more difficult to make it happen unless he uses that Shroud aggressively.
Maybe try to get him to burn it, but would have to commit some cooldowns to do so. Nomanz, though, playing very far back in the lane, respecting the potential for Rek'Sai to come over the wall. Hitting himself behind the turret normally might be a risk, but still feeling confident. And Galio moves up as well. Santos ready to cover if they do go for the dive. Has been spotted out on the ward and will stop any kind of aggressive play in its track.
Yeah, and anytime Nomanz does get chunked out, he can back off. He can regen up some of that poke damage with his Ocean. You know, it's something that is very, very effective in that regard. You're never going to really be able to attack the Ryze's mana either with Ocean plus tier, so he will just wave clear away. And Jayce going to have to reset once more, unable to really find much of anything. And AHaHaCiK didn't find anything on the top side either. But it is just kind of the continued farm game.
Tay, though, still playing with a lot of confidence topside, but the binding does going to land onto Braum. Braum needs to step back to Mills if he wants to dash out. He has to flash first. Looking for the ultimate, has been stunned up. The chain CC now comes in as the Neeko ult is going to connect. RedBert set to fall, but a beautiful use of the stopwatch. TP coming into the backside. Akali ready to try and clean up the fight. No one has gone down yet. Santa's most likely the first to go. Tay ready to get this fight kicked off. Will dash in again. Still ticking. Santa's taken down, but Irelia is now here as well. The ulti comes out. 1 dash, 2 dash. Looking for the stun. Sejuani has not hit it yet. Moving forward, going to try to grab one. That's going to be 2. The Neeko with a double kill. The Irelia getting the 3rd. Mills alone standing under the tower, and Vega turned the fight in an instant.
Vega just slaughtered that fight. Santa's stopwatch got so much value, not only buying time, but immuning the Rek'Sai ultimate, staying alive for such a long time there. The TP comes through from Boss, and he's able to clean up. Gadget getting so much. 2 kills already, 2 kills on the Irelia. They're going to farm a bunch of plates here, and that is more gold going into the bags here of these already rich members.
Oh, 2K advantage this big is early, especially when it's so focused in these individual lanes.
Yeah, Gadget able to actually spot him out with the clone there as he was recalling, and AHaHaCiK comes down, is able to wait, nails the ultimate as Braum tries to actually W out. The first TP does come through here from Tay. Boss actually recalls, buys, then is TPing in, and that ultimate from Santa's, rather, stopwatch from Santa's able to buy so much time for the Irelia to arrive. Hits the ult on multiple members. Blade surging 3. Gadget is free hitting. He does clean it up.
And now the fight's just going to continue. Shini desperate to try to find the Rift Hail, but has been caught out by the rest of the team. Nomanz now moving forward, gets the point-and-click route. Nomanz though on the backside has to be careful. Galio coming in, using the ultimate, breaking up the team fight, but Boss is here as well. The stun not going to connect. Flawless duet. Not quite so flawless in that one. Rift Hail now backing off very low. They can extend it if they want to. They can try to take this objective down, but both sides just going to retreat 1 for 1 in the end.
Yeah, don't need to force it here on either side. Neither team has their jungler remaining, so it would be somewhat risky, and Nomanz maybe get caught.
Caught out here. Shroud has now been used. Santa's can try to come in. The taunt is going to get used as well. Does manage to retreat back to the Shroud, so now they're pulling back. Nomanz taken down, but Boss going to grab a kill back. RedBert has to be careful as well, but Jayce on the way up. Gadget throwing out the ultimate bot side, but not going to get anything as Mills cleanses and walks away.
Yeah, Mills forced to use the cleanse, though, is quite low, and you can see Neeko winning this 1v1 very heavily, looking for it.
Trying to find it, trying to get an outplay as well. Gadget walking forward now, thought it was the clone. Gadget stepping forward, taking one more tower shot. Mills not going to be able to get anything. The empowered auto comes through just in time.
Yeah, absolutely shreds him, and that empowered auto also doing so much work on the turret. Gadget making caught.
Ocean Drake's starting to tick up. He's getting a lot healthier. Shini has to be careful here. Now he's going to use the ultimate to come out. Gadget going to swap sides. Oh, tried to go for the tricky play. Is not going to work in the end, but RedBert grabs the kill.
Yeah, exactly. It's actually better that he gives that kill to the Braum instead of the Rek'Sai, so you're going to be feeling pretty good about that. Gadget, 1v1, gets the solo kill on the opposing Kai'Sa, takes a turret plate, and then is able to actually donate the shutdown over to the enemy support instead of a carry, so very nicely done from him down on the bottom side of the map. Really showing off that champion mastery, and Blade of the Rune King now complete, as well as those tier 2 boots. Gadget is going to do a lot of damage, and also anytime you get turret access with that 3rd hit passive auto, that works on turrets, so you're just shredding through them.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly why it does work on turrets, but it does a lot of damage. That is most certainly true, and with the movement speed additionally on the passive, impossible to get away from the Neeko. But the good news is from the bottom side, while the shutdown does go to Braum, the Dragon will in turn go to INTZ. Sadly, it is now traded for the Herald, though, so it'll still be 1 for 1 in objectives overall. Gonna have to see if they can put that Mountain Drake to good use, as AHaHaCiK and Boss are just gonna cleave through this one.
Yeah, gonna be able to knock this down, and first turret is still remaining. Plate's about to fall, so unless they drop it immediately, they likely won't get any plate from this, but should be able to go up here for Tay and force it down.
Tay needs to be careful here. Shuriken flip. We'll take him on safety. Has the freedom to jump back into the Shroud. Ulti just a little bit off there. We'll use the second half of the ultimate just to dash away. Nomanz trying to threaten, trying to pull back, ready to have that escape option, but instead we'll just retreat. Gadget, though, going to lock up Mills. Mills just instantly taken out. RedBert caught sleeping. The second he leaves his AD carry alone, Gadget goes in for the kill.
Yeah, Gadget is just slamming Mills at this point. Back-to-back solo kills on this guy, putting in so much pressure on the Neeko. Really, really well played here. Again, Vega just so impressive on so many different picks. It's really, really difficult to kind of pinpoint a weakness of this team in Group B when they're able to play so much stuff to such a high level, and now dropping the Rift Herald mid, threatening for a second tower here. Looks like they'll just get it, no problem.
Yeah, not really any tools to contest. Mills is dead. Jayce is returning down the mid lane. A second charge as well will be a good bit of damage into mid lane. It won't be much past that, but complete and total control from Vega. Every game up until this point has been slow. It's been about one final team fight to decide it. This game feels like it's a very different pace as Vega have a 3K gold lead 15 minutes in.
Yeah, the pressure certainly mounting on INTZ. As the towers all get cracked, you can start to now move your Ryze as well as your Irelia out to those side lanes and really start to kind of pressure elsewhere.
Braum's trying to block a little bit of damage here, but Unbreakable falling away, and you can see how much he'll take. AHaHaCiK, though, traded back against, and yeah, 9 plates is just a huge amount of gold in the early game.
Yeah, it really is. And now, there you go. Ryze top lane, Irelia heading to bot. You park your Neeko mid lane just for that wave clear. Now who answers, right? You only have one teleport. You can send Tay to either side to try to answer one of them. But if you send Envy down to the bottom lane to answer this Irelia, well, guess what? They can make a TP play elsewhere on the map.
And it's so difficult, too, because even if you want to attack the mid, the 3 and the 1-3-1, Gadget's almost impossible to lock down. They really don't have like a reliable point-and-click CC option. And the Neeko has the Shape Splitter. Her movement speed is incredible after every one of those third autos. And once she gets a Ginsu's, it's every 2 autos. So difficulty, burden of execution, definitely stacked against INTZ. They're not out of the game, but Vega have everything going in their favor at this point.
Yeah, they really do. Not to mention the Galio can obviously, respond to either side, especially once Galio gets a little bit more range on that ultimate, gets a shorter cooldown post level 11. You can really kind of get out to those side lanes that much more easily, try to turn those side lanes in your favor or even peeling there for Gadget. But it's Vega running the map here, looking to pressure. And AHaHaCiK is down here. They could dive Envy very easily if he does walk too far forward.
Good news for Envy is that while he doesn't have the TP, and while that's going to make a lot of things more difficult, the cleanse will help immensely against the Sejuani and Irelia. Don't know if we're going to see the commit here. AHaHaCiK seems to be more content backing off here, may have enough gold to spend, and Nomanz is just going to walk away. Shini threatening for the gank, but we saw this earlier in the mid lane. Without the commitment of the flash, it's just really not too scary for the Ryze.
Yeah, as soon as Shini shows, though, they know that they can dive this Ryze, right? So they just walk up and proc the demolish on that turret, get some damage down, but it is TP coming down now from Tay. They're trying to collapse.
2 members here. The TP from Ryze is going to be a little bit later. They're going to have to react quickly. With 3 members now to the 4 on the opposite side, and AHaHaCiK sees an opportunity to go in. The Shroud has been used. Speeding up Tay, though. The acceleration gate will help him retreat.
Yeah, it's just backing off. It is a trade of TPs, but that's honestly in Vega's favor. When you have the additional teleport, that's the only one on the map already used here now by Tay. They do match, but they still have TP advantage on the side of the Irelia. And ITZ aren't able to actually commit to that because when the TP is matched, Galio is roaming down. You know that Galio could answer any sort of real commit to that fight. So it's just going to diffuse very, very quickly. It's a trade of summoners. But again, in Vega's favor.
Little things. INTZ need to find some kind of victory, but for now, kind of just looking at how Vega are going to play the rest of this one out. Saw opportunity, they immediately punished. And it feels like, I don't really think there's any pressure right now on Vega to like go for any crazy aggressive play. We saw what they did earlier where the second anyone shows, they know they have a man advantage, they move in for a bit of tower damage, and it feels like they can just slowly bleed INTZ out of this game.
Yeah, they definitely can. I mean, I think there's opportunities if they do see a good chance to try to force a play. Because especially playing around Gadget now, he's so strong at this point in the game. Just completed his Rage Blade. He has over 3,000 gold ahead of Mills. And he has 2 levels up on him, so that is just insane.
Nomanz, though, has to be careful here. Knows the CC is gone from the Akali, so we'll just dash away to safety. Akali now using the Shuriken flip to try to make it back out. And AHaHaCiK just ready to posture if Akali did overcommit there. And Boss is actually comfortable here in a 3v1 scenario. They're not confident enough to dive him despite seeing the jungler on the bottom side as well as the Ryze. And Gadget gets a free tower.
But yeah, Gadget will just take this. He can rotate bot. That was the ult and ignite out of Tay. So, pretty expensive all in there from him. Nomanz able to withstand it and back off. They do trade a tower on the top side, which I do like. Trading those towers when you are behind is in your favor. But Tay is going to have to back off. And it will be another dragon going the way here of Vega. INTZ, though, still pushing on the top side, so maybe able to make it 2 towers for the 1, plus that dragon. So that is nicely done by them to be able to find some gold, to be able to trade that back as well as they can.
Puts them in a decent position overall. I have to feel like Vega may have wanted to get more there. Boss now knocked up. The initial stun going to connect, but Galio is on the way in. That's going to be the knockup. Shini all alone with Irelia, not where he wants to be. The taunt rather connects, and Boss going to grab 1. Connecting across some Irelia fancy footwork. 1 more dashing cleanse, but he can't stop anything else. Gadget over the wall. Envy's going to be rooted up and taken out. Blade Surge still available. Boss getting yet another reset. Gadget going over the wall, wants to keep the fight going. Mills does not do enough damage to step forward there. Uses the ultimate away. He's actually just getting blasted. This is a DPS check.
God.
You're not going to win the RuneScape duel, and there is no room to outplay there. Auto for auto. Gadget comes out on top, and now Vega, I cannot believe it, but they are just smashing this game, and on the back of that one, the 20-minute Baron will start.
This one's not even close. Gadget is just an absolute monster. That was 2 unassisted kills on the bottom lane there. He's just running them down. That is actually his 3rd solo kill on Mills this game. That is utter domination. 20 minutes in, 12-4. They take down the Baron.
And Tay can't even get the 1v1 on the bottom side despite knowing no one else was coming in that matchup.
Yeah, not much opportunity for him to do that. I mean, he'd already used Ignite on the previous play. Here this is one more time. They dive forward onto Boss, but Boss flashes back, buys time with the ult, and just shreds through Shini, who is so squishy at this point of the game. And it's a very fed Irelia. Already had the Triforce as well as the Tiamat. Gadget, great route over the wall, and then just starts walking him down, flashing over the wall in chase onto RedBert, proccing for the additional speed, as you say. And then Mills commits the ultimate, but just gets absolutely melted there by Gadget. Really, really playing well on the Neeko.
And you got to feel bad for Mills in this situation where he's at such a deficit that he's basically a spectator to this game. Every time he enters, there's just no one on the enemy team outside of Santos who can't kill him in a 1v1 at this stage.
I mean, honestly, they could just end the game. Like, your AD carry is 4,000 gold ahead. It doesn't feel like INTZ can actually challenge on any side. They're 1-3-1-ing. No one's even trying to answer the 3-man squad. They just give up the first inhibitor for free. You know, if Vega is able to find a fight, the game could just end, but for now, they are content to just clean up the rest of the gold on the map. They take an inhibitor tower in the mid lane. Bottom tier 2 goes down. Irelia pushing towards that top tier 2. But one mistake from INTZ and the game ends.
And this could just be that mistake depending on what they can do. Shini and Tay stepping forward. Boss could look for the outplay. Is immediately going to throw the ulti onto Tay. Will not get the freedom to reset, but AHaHaCiK is on the backside. Not quite enough damage to kill the Irelia. Tay will get one back in the exchange. The shutdown. Going to be big there, but it might not be enough. AHaHaCiK flashes forward, hits him with the flail. And on the meantime, the bottom side, there's a fight breaking out. Gadget stepping forward. RedBert taking so much damage. The Neeko's unstoppable. She's simply too fast. She's just going to run the rest of the team down. Nomanz on the front line. That's 2 more kills. Vega Squadron absolutely obliterating INTZ in this game. Outcrossing across the lanes, across all levels of play. Yeah, Vega are set now to end the game. Incredibly dominant performance. One of the fastest, if not the fastest game we have had in Group B thus far. And there is nothing for NB to do. Heartbreaking run for INTZ, but Vega clearly eyes focused on the top of the group, and they are uncontested right now in first place on the back of this win. For now, though, they're going to have a bit of fun with it. Wanted to take the rest of the game seriously, but they're realm warping the team in, and they will end.
Really, really, really impressive, honestly, from Vega. They have showcased so many different picks, so many different styles, and they just absolutely trashed INTZ. That was not even close, really, at any stage of the game. This bottom lane Neeko went off.
6, 1, and 4 from Gadget. He will be your player of the game. Get more of his stats to show you later, but
almost doubled the gold almost of Mills. It's like, it's just insane.
It was incredible. I mean, I just think that there are so few people that have put the time into Neeko once she got those nerfs. And Gadget is one of them, and it's paid off significantly. When those damage nerfs came through on Chase Splitter, a lot of people backed off from the on-hit Neeko, but he stuck with it, and you can see it's paying off here, as clearly people are just not prepared for how much damage this champ can do, the CC setup that she provides.
Yeah, I mean, he just looks so comfortable on all these different picks. He is player of the game, as you said, and really, really dominant stuff here from him. Very comfortable, either, you know, throughout the laning phase. He was looking good in the 1v1s. He clearly knew how to push an advantage, you know, finding multiple dives and solo kills onto the enemy AD carry. This is where it really felt like it all went wrong, though, for INTZ. This was a hard commit to this bot lane play. Fantastic stopwatch from Santa's, bought so much time. Gadget got a double kill. The Irelia was already fed, picked up even more. And here again, Gadget going for it. I think they just thought that was the clone. Braum is walking away to ward. He just completely tricked them.
Absolutely. And I think that's like when you look at Neeko play, that's kind of what you want to see. And it feels like he's using the full strength of that kit. We've seen him domestically block so many skill shots with the Shape Splitter, obliterate Ezreal matchups because they actually can't hit him with a clone walking in front of him. So impressive play. And I think good to see. We so frequently see people coming from regional leagues not able to transition their level of play onto a big stage, not able to cope with the pressure. But Gadget, it doesn't seem to be one of those guys. And it's a good look for Vega as now their only real opposition is Detonation Focus Me, and it feels like they probably have the strongest bottom lane in the tournament.
Yeah, they definitely do. And honestly, pressure is on for Detonation Focus Me, because if they lose one more game, even if they then beat, you know, Vega later, like the game is no longer in their hands, right?
Yeah.
Because Vega is now sitting at, I believe, at 4-0. DFM is at 3-1. So if they drop one more game, that game becomes kind of somewhat irrelevant. So it's all eyes on these two teams. We have that matchup coming up later today, and I feel like that's going to be the deciding one for the group.
That's going to be a rush. But MasterCard returns to MSI this year to continue their tradition of supporting the best fans that esports has to offer. Now, these 4 fans of the day were the first to arrive for today's game, what's earned them those NAR plushies for their first ever international event, despite playing the game since Season 3. I feel for that one. I remember my first event. That's crazy the first time you come out. People are way louder in person. You never believe it. And then you're there and you're like, damn.
The atmosphere is so fun at a lot of the events. They look pumped to get those plushies. And I think it's awesome because League has been growing so much in Vietnam. And, you know, you hear so much about the popularity of the game there, the passion of the fans and the communities. And for them to finally get that international tournament coming to Vietnam has got to feel amazing.
Yeah, and on top of that, Funk Blue Buffalo.
They crushed it.
They absolutely crushed it. We're going to see them play against Liquid tomorrow, but that is tomorrow. Today, INTZ are not done yet, and when we return, they look to take down Mega from the LST. We're going to see you there after the break. The ulti comes out. 1 dash, 2 dash, looking for the stun. Sejuani has not hit it yet. Moving forward, going to try to grab one. That's going to be 2. Threaten trying to pull back, ready to have that escape option, but instead we'll just retreat. Gadget, though, going to lock up Mills. Gadget going over the wall, wants to keep the fight going. Mills does not do enough damage to step forward there. Uses the ultimate away. He's actually just getting blasted. This is a DPS check. Gadget stepping forward. RedBert taking so much damage. The Neeko's unstoppable. She's simply too fast. She's just going to run the rest of the team down. Nomanz on the front line. That's 2 more kills.